Well, I'm Resha, and today what I'm going to talk about might not be very novel, but it's authentic because it's my own experience. 15 years ago, when I decided to leave my career in law, and I knew I wanted to do something different, but I wasn't sure exactly what. A few months into that decision, I was extremely miserable, paralyzed with fear. I had a very angry mother at home, and I think we all know about angry Indian mothers. I had a confused father. When I looked around, my friends were doing really well, my colleagues were sorted, everyone was earning a lot of money, coasting in life, and I was wondering where my next paycheck would come from. I was miserable. I had always imagined that I would be a winner, but I did not feel like a winner, quite the contrary. I felt like a loser at that point in time. If anyone had at that point come to that miserable Resha and told her that, although she did not know the difference between branding and marketing, she would get the chance to play a role in building some of India's most iconic brands, Myntra, Sugar, Jiva. If someone had told her that, she did not use social media so much, but she would create some of the biggest multi-million social media accounts, and quite a few of them. If anyone had told her that her strategies would win awards, that her strategies would make it to IMA case studies, that she would be able to mentor teams of hundreds of people, that she would be able to have, honestly, I didn't know CAC, website traffic, metrics, anything. But if anyone had told me that I would be able to be responsible for thousands of crores in revenue, well, I would have asked you what you were high on. Anyone had told me that there will be a day that I'll be able to come here and share my story with all of you and tell you what worked for me. Well, impossible for that Resha to believe that such a day would come. So what helped? What made me be able to do this? I look back retrospectively, and to me, it's very clear that what helped me was the lack of certain things. I was unprepared in a world which is over-prepared. Today, when we look at it, everywhere you can add courses to your degrees, you can go through 10-hour-long podcasts from the best in the world. You can read multiple books. You will have ChatGPT and AI and ML and Google to tell you, find out, create anything at will. You have so many mentors to reach out to on LinkedIn and Instagram. There is no dearth of avenue. But a lot of times when your back is against the wall and when you have none of these, what you actually get prepared for is to take a risk and to listen to your own unique voice. There is no way in the world that we can use knowledge as a crutch. It's great. Look, I'm not against preparedness. I think God himself must have told us to be prepared because it is age-old wisdom. But that is not a crutch. It's not a tool for procrastination. It's not a way to not do something in a new way. The place where magic is truly created is when we do something through learning, through reiterating, through making mistakes, and through owning our own unique voice. So, well, I had to do that. And when I did it, I literally learned everything on the job. And when I listened, when I heard what it means when a consumer comes, buys a certain way, watches certain things certain ways, what do they like, what do they not like, how do I build revenue models, I learned it all. And I could actually contribute to it from my own way. In 1945, a psychologist called Carl Dunk, he did an experiment. The experiment was that he called experts from every field. There were engineers, there were doctors, there were scientists, name it. And then he made groups of them. And there was one more group, which was a group of 5-year-olds. This experiment was run multiple times. And every single time, the 5-year-olds beat the adults at what he had given them as a task. The task was, everyone was given a candle, a box of matches, and they were given thumbstacks or the pin boards that we use to, pin things to the soft board. The 5-year-olds, and the task was that candle has to be attached to the wall in such a way that when the candle is lit, the wax does not touch the floor. What we saw was the 5-year-olds did two things differently from the adults. Firstly, they did not discuss strategy too much. They got down to doing it. They were failing, and they would keep trying new approaches while they were failing. Second thing that they did was they did not know the traditional use of the products. So the adults would try and, light the candle, use the wax to put the candle against the wall, it would slip up. They would use the thumbtack and try and put the candle in the wall, it would slip up. So what was actually happening with the younger ones? They took the matchbox, they emptied it eventually, they put the candle inside and attached the matchbox to the wall. And they did this multiple times, multiple 5-year-old groups, right? And multiple other adult groups. So what is different when we try and learn creativity? That's what Carl Jung was trying to understand. We basically have to empty ourselves from the norms that we have been told and we have bought into. We have to look at everything that is normal in our world and see how it could be something different. And when we do that, we are able to solve everything through creativity. When at Sugar, I remember when we were trying to create we knew that makeup in India is a nascent industry. Our mothers grew up with kajal and lipstick, and that's what we knew. We wanted to now tell everybody that there could be like 15 steps to makeup and so many different things that could be done. And we needed influencers to be able to showcase it, because it's not something that can be taught as theory. We didn't have the money to go to the big celebrities and the big influencers. So we started India's first nano and micro influencer program. And in 2020, when COVID hit and the influencer industry became this huge mammoth of big industry, I was on board of 13 different influencer agencies who wanted to learn from us how we had done what we had done. It was absolutely novel, and I had to do it because there was no other way, because there was no money. So a lot of times, I want to today make a case for being able to take risks, for being able to trust ourselves, for being able to use our own unique gift, for being able to be okay with looking like a fool, to be able to be a visionary. And I think that is where magic is created. We bring our own unique touch. When I say ours or us, I'm not talking about one person. It could be you, it could be me, it could be brands, it could be businesses. When we hear of a Steve Jobs and Apple, that is what we hear of, right? What are we discussing? We're discussing a visionary man who's not an engineer but can make everybody communicate differently, look at technology differently. When we talk about a Musk, love it, hate him, that's okay. But we can't deny the fact that he decided to learn and reiterate and he created reusable rockets. Not an everyday thing to do. So basically, what I'm trying to really advocate for is to be able to take risks, is to be able to not hide behind the immense amount of knowledge and know-how and go-to and experts that we could reach into. Because actually, truthfully, when anyone asks me, reaches out to me on social media and they're like, ma'am, you changed your career, how did that happen, how did you grow? It happened because of the angry mother. It happened because I had no option. But it happened mostly because I was willing to take risks. And I was willing to make mistakes. I was willing to learn from those mistakes. So I'll leave you with this. Action is what leads us to creativity. Action is what leads us to confidence. And I don't think sitting at the edge is what is going to get anyone there. When we want to create something which is big, nations are created like this, businesses are created like this, consumer patterns are created like this, but most importantly, hope is created like this. Every single one of us will have a day or a period where we will think we are not prepared enough. But actually, that's the time when you jump and you believe that you can. And you figure it out, because we can. And that is very important. So I'm going to leave you today with a question. which is that what is that one thing that you have been sitting on because you don't think that you're prepared enough? And if you did take the first step, how will that look for you? I wish all of you get a chance to create and experience magic in your life through taking action and through the power of self-belief, because it's really, really possible. Thank you.